Okay, Christina here to listen to some music. And today's music selection is Lateralus by Tool. This is the third reaction to Tool on the channel. The first two were 46 and 2 and The Pot. And I am thoroughly enjoying my journey with the band Tool. As everyone says, spiral out. Even though I've been told that I can't quite yet truly appreciate that saying, the spiraling out. There are a couple of tracks of theirs that I still have yet to listen to before that really makes sense, so we'll get there. But Lateralus, I've heard a lot about. I don't know the tiny little details about it, because I don't want to spoil anything, but what I do know is it has to do with the Fibonacci sequence, which I'm kind of a nerd, like with science and math and things like that, so I love to learn about these things. I know that the Fibonacci sequence is, the numbers, and you add one to the other, and that spiral seems to be found in nature quite a lot. So I think that's really cool, and if this is a song having to do with that sequence, then awesome. So I also know that Tool began in 1990. This song was released in either 2001 or 2002, is a little bit unclear. And it was the winner of a poll. This is the one that's next in line that everyone chose in the polls for Tool. So I'm excited. All right. Don't forget to do all the things, like and subscribe, all that stuff, Patreon, coffee, you know the drill. So enough talking. Let's listen. Okay. I'm really excited about this one. All right, let's go. Okay, so I'm hearing a return of a chorus or verse or something. Ooh. Wow. Okay. There's just not a wasted second in Tool music. It is all just so exciting. And I feel like it is sort of waking up all of my senses. And I'm seeing this photograph here, and it has eyes on it, almost like a sixth sense or something, or I don't know. Nature is obviously coming to mind because I know there's something they love to write about things that occur in nature, sort of. So I know this is like Fibonacci sequence, but not quite hearing exactly yet how that's involved, but I have some guesses. But anyway, it all seems to be very organic and very much natural, and overwhelmingly the descriptive word that was coming to mind was smooth. It was so smooth. From the beginning, it was very delicate. Nature can sometimes be so delicate, but then sometimes it can kick us around pretty well. So, don't mess with Mother Nature, right? I feel like this is maybe exploring some of that. How we're all sort of connected, but we're also not. And everything's kind of vulnerable, but at the same time, we kind of rely on each other, It's, there's so much to read into this. So at the beginning, what I was noticing is this huge crescendo. So it started a lot less and then was building and building and building. And there was some kind of pulse in the background. It gave me goosebumps. I was like, woo, because it was almost like a heartbeat. It was almost like a sound, at least in the headphones, that was almost, I don't know, almost unnatural. Like something from so deep down inside of us. Almost ethereal, like your soul beating, not just your heart. It just sort of came from the depths, and then it was a great, there is nothing better than a really well-planned crescendo where it keeps you wanting more, but doesn't give too much away, but at the same time, it doesn't seem too calculated. And I think that's what's neat about this already, is that I know there's calculation going on back in here, but at the same time, it's this smooth, natural process. And because of that, I'm getting used to the lead singer still. His voice is also very smooth, and it was very delicate at first when it came in. And that's not the first time that's happened with Tool's music. The other two I listened to, there were some times when I had to really feel like I was leaning in just to hear. And that was definitely sort of keeping me on the edge of my seat. And then all of the different beats, I heard some 5 beats. I heard, I think some just like one individual beats that just kind of stood on their own. But that's hard to tell sometimes, just by ear. It's very complex. And it's really fun that I am getting to know the sounds of this band. I'm starting to recognize, like I recognize the opening guitar sound, and I recognize the voice now, and I recognize it. And that's fun. That's a lot of fun to know the characters and the colors, and actually, the colors that are used in putting together a piece of music like this. But I actually was hearing colors being listed. So that's interesting. It seems to be all about perspective somehow. Anyway, let's just see where this takes us. Let's keep going. I'm going to back it up just a little bit, and we'll see.
To look through to
Okay. Got some stuff to comment on here. Wow. Okay. More goosebumps. So yeah, swing on the spiral. I think that's what he was saying. So I can always tell when I'm really drawn into a song, and I can still be drawn into a piece of music and not have this happen, but when this happens to me, it's kind of magical because I always hear the music first and then the lyrics. And so if there is a song that pulls me in where I am hearing both, I just feel so wrapped up in it, and just, it's comforting. It's all seeing. And I was totally in that just in this last section. I was catching all the words, which is also a good thing. Sometimes it's nice to have a singer with clear diction. And I was just really involved. I was wrapped up in the spiral. And what happened before this, the mention of the spiral, so I was hearing more mentioning of the colors and something up like being in black and white in infancy. So kind of like babies don't see in color, or they don't see very well at first, you know. They only see like, you know, that far away from them, and then their eyesight kind of develops as they grow. Then he was singing about how his knowledge was expanding. His experience was like crossing boundaries and pushing the envelope, and I just like all seeing, all knowing, being connected. I heard that in there again. This is really deep stuff, and it's important stuff. So, you know, we're all just human. We're a part of nature. I also heard like stepping back and admiring the beauty of nature, and I feel like that message is coming across to me. And it's amazing. How does a message of the beauty of nature come across in a song like this with like drum beats and guitars and, you know, you just never know how music is going to speak to you. Well, this is certainly speaking to me. And I also wanted to comment on, before the spiral out mention, it was another crescendo, really revving up, and it was almost like there was a big fire building, and then all of a sudden it was doused. It was put out, like psh, you almost heard a sound like that. And then there's just like the crackling and the silence after the fire was put out. And it's almost like what's going to rise from the ashes. That's what came to my mind in this middle section of the song. All right, I'm going to check lyrics just really quickly because I want to make sure I'm on the right track. I think I am. Black then white are all I see in my infancy. Red and yellow then came to me, reaching out to me, lets me see. So is that like knowledge and just life experience? I don't know. Or is it like that sixth sense being developed? Overthinking, overanalyzing. That's what I always try not to do with this music, so I'm not going to. It separates the body from the mind. Withering my intuition. Missing opportunities. Yeah, just go with the flow. Nature has a rhyme and reason. Embrace my desire to feel the rhythm. Why are all these separated like this? To fathom the power, to witness the beauty, to bathe in the fountain, to swing on the spiral. There we go. Spiral out, keep going. Swing on the spiral of our divinity and still be a human. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm on the right track. It's like the human experience within nature. Okay, we're going to back it up a little bit again and finish the song on out. Okay. That really transformed as it spiraled out. It was a very different feel by the end of the song. His voice changed. It was deeper. There were just more sounds in general. There was a lot of dissonance. One thing I'm noticing with Tool is that they like to sit on tonic, which is whatever the key is for the piece of music. They like to sit on that note a lot and just kind of go back and forth around that tonal center. So D. So it's centered around the key of D, D minor, quite a lot. Because of that, when there were other notes that went really far away from that tonal center, it made more of an impact. And also, like I said, the dissonance. So dissonance is when you have like two notes and they're right next to each other. So that's a D and a C. In fact, I thought it might have been those two notes that I heard. Let's see if we can find that. Okay, right there, you heard in the guitar, it was sort of like this is the tonic, but then it was going way up high, away from it. Those are some of the notes that were really going away from this tonal center. But then there was this moment of dissonance where it's two notes right next to each other. It's still coming up. I'm hearing lots of those tones in there where it's two notes right next to each other. I hear that too. It's almost like a tone cluster, which is like more than two notes usually. A tone cluster is like three notes or more that are right really close to each other. So you have a lot of... Okay, well, I've not heard that particular thing in Tool music before. I just think it's really creative. Okay. But rhythmically, I know there's a lot of math involved in this, and I would have to probably sit down and do a rhythmic analysis and write out all of the different time signatures that I was hearing. But I certainly caught several along the way. I heard lots of sevens and a lot of sixes, actually. Like towards the end, there was a lot of 6/8 or 6/4, where there were 6 beats to a bar there towards the end. And then a lot of the choruses were a little more stable, like just some 4/4s and 3/4s and things like that. But I'd have to do a deeper analysis, a deeper dive of this, I think, to catch the true Fibonacci sequence of this. But I can tell there's so much complexity here. And then you layer on top of that how complex nature is, and the fact that they're trying to sort of translate that or transcribe that into music. And again, sort of more evolution. That's where we were with 46 and 2. Just, I think the evolution here, it was kind of in its infancy in the beginning and completely different by the end. His voice, I guess you could say it was more mature, but it was also heavier. And, you know, life experience can be kind of heavy. So I see it kind of playing out as the human experience. Let's go back to the very end. so there's a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. And I'm hearing so many background noises, like reverb from the guitars, and the drums just never quit. But I know that's what's to be expected here. The octopus, right? And then one other thing is where I heard the voice handing off to one of the guitar voices. And it was seamless, where he was singing and he sort of finished what he was saying, and then the guitar sort of took over. And the guitar could not have done that as easily at the beginning of the song, but in the middle there, or half, like 2/3 of the way through was when that happened. His voice had changed enough where the guitar could grab that timbre and take it, over seamlessly. I'm not sure if I'll be able to find that, but we'll see if we can give it a try. Yeah, so that was that seamless transition. That was really cool. Whew. Oh, so there's just so much to talk about in this song, and there might also be a video, so maybe I can revisit this in a future reaction and really take a deep dive, maybe a little bit of the rhythmic analysis along with the video, and we can see. Because I still want to see a little bit more of where the Fibonacci sequence really lies. I don't think it's the kind of thing you can necessarily catch in the first pass, and that's okay. We don't want to overthink it or overanalyze. Okay, that was Lateralus, and that was awesome. Did not disappoint. And this being the third song of Tool that I've heard, I can officially say that I'm really enjoying the spiraling here. They're just so creative and intelligent. Again, it's not the kind of thing that you can catch everything in the first pass. So I'm going to continue listening to this and maybe do a little research. So go ahead and put in the comments what you know about this piece, where I can go back and catch a few of these things. I know what my ear and what my heart picked up on with this listening. And I believe that I caught on to what I needed to catch on to. I think I definitely received that message, but I know there's so much more under the surface. So we may save that for another day. I really do love diving into polyrhythms, really complex counting. I love it. My brain does try to do that as I'm listening, like I'm trying to write it out on the staff and, oh, here's a 3/4 and here's a 6/8 and, but there's only so much you can do with trying to absorb all of it in. So we will revisit. I think that's what we're going to have to do. But until then, I'm going to keep listening to this, and I'm going to keep admiring it, and we're going to keep spiraling out. So again, leave in the comments stuff about this song, other songs of theirs that I should listen to. We have some polls up and suggestions and everything, but we are continuing to narrow it down and add more to the list. So feel free to contribute and really help my journey be the best one that it can be. I'm not complaining so far, though. Okay. And as always, just remember that you don't have to be perfect. Just be okay. And keep listening.